page, Tactical Chef. And just do pictures. Nobody has to even know who it is. Just do pictures of a gun with meals.
Every single time?
Or a weapon of some sort.
Or how about Tactical Chef? This is what we'll do. I will give you an MRE. I will give you an MRE to take home. And we'll give you like 24 hours.
You have to duplicate it.
No, you got 24 hours. And then you have to bring it here and make it in a manner that no longer makes it an MRE. You have to pimp the MRE. How about that?
Bullshit.
Why is that bullshit?
Can you use other ingredients?
No, the ingredients have to come. They have to come. You have to come up with something.
It's gonna be an MRE then, dude.
You have to come up with something.
Right, I gotta walk all the way out of here. I'll see you later.
Hey. Oh, how about this? The ingredients can only come from a 7-Eleven.
I would be down with that.
Because that's something people could go and buy. How do you make an MRE better?
With 7-Eleven add-ons?
Yeah. You don't want to.
That's cool.
You don't want them to have to search for what's that orange? What's that stuff everybody's talking about?
Orange Ruffy.
Yeah, Orange Ruffy. You don't want them having to search for Orange Ruffy.
You don't want to have the surgery of Orange Ruffy?
Or search for Orange Ruffy
it's number 8, by the way.
Orange Ruffy?
Yeah.
All right.
7+.
Are you going to be on the video?
No.
He already is.
Oh, are we rolling?
We're rolling. We're live. Everybody sees how much Perrier we have in the bunker.
Podcast 12.
Podcast 12.
5:34.
Late.
5:34 on the 9th of January.
Is it the 9th?
I'm talking to Jack Spearfield.
On a Wednesday. You're talking to him right now?
Yeah, he was peeing me about something. Okay, I got a couple, and then we'll get into those ones. I had something I want. Tell them about the car in your garage.
The 1975. I can't say that on a fucking podcast. These hooligans will be riding motorcycles around my house, and
who was in Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah.
Mel Gibson will probably come want to see the car.
Well, there was an opportunity.
We know a guy that knows a guy that knows Mel Gibson.
Well, there was actually an opportunity. I can't think of his name, but
don't tell him what it is. Let them figure it out.
I can't think of his name, but the guy that rides a motorcycle with his twink on the back, he was at a place where they were going to get him to sign my glove compartment, but it never happened.
We know a dude that knows Joe Rogan.
Yeah. I don't want Joe Rogan signing my car.
But he knows Mel Gibson.
Yeah. I honestly don't think Mel Gibson would be very impressed. I think he'd be like...
Impressed? No, but I think
he'd be like, that's cute.
I think we could get it to happen, though.
He's like, that's cute.
Mel Gibson would be way more impressed with...
You know what we'd have to do? Is not Mel Gibson. To get Mel Gibson...
Tom Hardy.
We need Tom Hardy's signature.
I like it.
Because then he'll be like, no, that's not the original dude. I'm going to sign this motherfucker. And he'd probably sign over Tom Hardy's name. That's what I think.
I like Tom Hardy. Like fucking, I think hands down, fucking, what's the Prohibition one?
Oh, God, that is the best. That movie. That is the best movie ever.
Or, I like Taboo, man. I fucking
Taboo's good.
I don't think second's coming out.
Where's Taboo? Where's the...
Part 2?
Yeah, where's part 2? Yeah. Come on. What was that on?
Somebody
was that on
said...
Netflix?
This is where I didn't start with the car, but why the Harry Potter references in your products? Nothing wrong with it, just curious on why. I just like castles and magic and shit, but really I like the Harry Potter shit because there's so much like secret society embedded in there, and the secret society stuff, all of your elite all have lineage, history, mystique around secret society like that, right? And everybody's like, oh my God, the occult or, secret society. I get, people say that about me all the time when they see my oddity stuff that I collect. But really, can you be, like, the whole problem with society nowadays is the demasculinization of boys and men, right? So we want to make them more effeminate and not as aggressive. Basically, you want to remove testosterone. And I'm almost 50 years old, and I'm doing everything I can to fucking add testosterone. I'm working out like a fucking madman, taking supplements. Like I'm waiting. I get my fucking testosterone pellets put in Wednesday.
Wednesday. That's today.
Next Wednesday. So that goes with. It's the elite. who is in a secret society? Typically the elite, people with money, people with influence, people that fucking perform well, and you know, and you don't even know who's in the society. Even sometimes the societies that you belong to, you don't even know the entire member list. And people are like, oh, well, that's fucking bad, and you know, you shouldn't do that. But really, do you not want to be elite? Is that not what everybody watching or listening to this podcast or this video or any of our stuff, really, you want to be better, right? You're not buying gear because you want to hang it on. Well, I mean, some guys are buying it because they want to hang it on the wall. You're buying it for in case. But I mean, for the most part, it's SEALs, SF dudes, like the tip of the spear, the elite, the performance athletes. In anything. I mean, you want a better car, you want a nicer car, you want a nicer house, you want your wife's tits bigger. I mean, whatever the fuck it is that you're into, it is, you want to be the elite, or you are chasing the elite, or you are learning from the elite. So that's kind of where that is. And I love Dobby the house elf. Like, if I could have one, I would have a house elf slave.
A house elf slave? I'm not into Harry Potter, so I have no idea what any of these references are. So when they say like the last shirt, the always triangle? Triangle?
So when I
have no idea what any of that stuff
when they threw that artwork at me, I saw all seeing eye. I did not even fucking think for 1 second that was a Harry Potter reference. And then
are we now in jeopardy of being
a cult?
No, attacked by Harry Potter because we are selling the platform, the 503 platform?
No. Nobody even knows what the fuck where that came from or how that even came. Club 503. There's still people that ask about it. Like, dudes hit me up. They're like, hey, I'm a Mason. I'm like, well, you're not supposed to tell me that, first of all. You're just assuming that I am. I'm not. And number two, people that know. And if you want to know, you have to come here. And if we like you, maybe we'll tell you.
And Jade, I would love nothing more than for you to come to Nashville and open up Club 503.
Is Jade listening to this?
I don't know.
Why? Is
Probably
Jade a Mason?
No, but he opened that speakeasy.
What's that have to do with fucking Harry Potter?
Because we're going to have Club 503.
Okay, gotcha. Roger. I'll put money into that, Jade. And in Nashville, there is a way around a liquor license. You don't actually have to have a liquor license. I went to a club. There are only 1,000 members of the club. And it's fucking really cool. So we're with it doesn't matter who we're with. You know who he is. And he's like, he's taking us to the Linkin Park concert. And before, he's like, hey, meet me at this place called the, whatever. And I go, what's the address? And he's like, you won't see the address. There's no address. Go to this bar, and then you're going to see a door, and there's going to be a big dude in front of the door, and there's going to be a rope hanging down from the upstairs. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm sure as shit, you get there, and like, you'd never you wouldn't fucking blink at it unless you were told. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to the place. And he's like, all right. So he opens the door, and we're now in a fucking stairwell, like a fire escape stairwell inside a building. And we walk up 3 flights of stairs. And at the top of the stairs, he thumbprint scans the fucking door and opens up the door, and we're now in a broom closet. I'm like, what the fuck? Literally a broom closet. And we go to the back of the broom. It's about this size, right? It's a pretty good size. It's all fucking blacked out. And there's brooms and mop buckets. It's a fucking broom closet. We go to the side, and he fucking slides this curtain thing back, and there's another thumbprint thing, and now you are in it's a beautiful nightclub. And it's maybe twice as wide as this room, but it is the whole length of the building. So the front is all glass, and it's the whole front of the building, sliding glass, opens onto a balcony that is over like your main tourist attraction bar area in Nashville. The wall is all leather bound on one side, and it's all like cut paisley velvet on the other side, tucked velvet and shit. Beautiful bar, huge bar, pool tables, billiards, all kinds of, fucking really, really nice shit. Drum kit, whole stage for musicians, and a bunch of your musicians are members of this club. You're not allowed to have a phone inside the club, no photos, and because all these dudes bring their other girls there and shit. Right. and you can become a member of, you can petition to become a member of the club. It's like, I think it's like $1,200 a month or something to be a member. You can only bring one person with you. If you're bringing more, you have to get it approved. Drinks are free because they can't sell alcohol. You buy a membership.
You buy a membership, yeah.
So it's fucking pretty neat, man. It was definitely neat.
So Gina, she'd
been in the same place.
Gina's daughter was in for Christmas, and she just recently left, but she wanted to. Megan wanted to stay the night in downtown Nashville. So last week they went into Nashville, and it just so happens that one of Megan's, not high school but junior high friends lives in Nashville, and they just happened to, it was like we just happened to meet in Nashville, and so the friend lives here. And so they're like, yeah, we're going down to, what is it? Is it Bourbon Street? I don't know, whatever the middle street is here that has
Avenue.
That's got all the bars on it. And she's like, oh, you don't want to go there. I'm gonna take you where the locals go. So they hit a couple of hotels and shit. And Gina's sending me pictures of these places, and I'm like, that's nice. It was nice venues. Well, and then I didn't hear any from.
I saw some of the photos. Like they had out on the patio, they had like glass domes where you eat. It's fucking rad.
And then
especially if it's snowing.
And so Nana, grandma is also with them, and so she's like, "Hey, I'm going to take you to this club. We're going to go to this club."
Nana's going to take them.
No,
okay.
The girl's like, but I'm just saying that their grandmother is also with them.
Well, we'd have been safe from vampires.
Yeah, so they're like, "We're going to go to this club," and so they're walking through a neighborhood. Gina's like, "Yeah, we're walking through a neighborhood, like." Kids playing in the front window, people walking their dogs. We're walking through this neighborhood, and they get to this house in the neighborhood.
You meant rave.
Yeah. They get to this house in the neighborhood, and Gina's like, she's like, I was like, are you sure this is legit? And there's this big black guy sitting on the porch, smoking a cigarette, just sitting there, and they walk up to the porch, and they get to the porch, and Gina's about to like, yeah, this is probably not a good idea. And the guy's like, I'm gonna need to see your IDs. And Gina's mom's there. And she's 75, and
she doesn't look 75.
Yeah, she's probably not 75. I may have misspoken, but she's close to 70. And she's like, even mine? And he's like, even yours, young lady. But so they go into this place, and they have turned this whole house into like a legit club.
That's how so we go to a taco shop that's supposed to be like the taco shop. It's probably like the similar area. We park around the corner, and there's a dude with a coffee shop in his garage, and there's bicycles all over, and it's kind of local revitalization shit. And the taco shop we go to, it just has like rave reviews, and you go in the morning, and they're making breakfast and shit, and there's only 2 things on the menu. Like that's all they fucking make, but there is 100 people. Like the line is around the outside and around the fucking corner, and that's kind of how that shit there is. Zoning's obviously
loose.
Loose to get people to come in.
It's loose for now because we want to gentrify this neighborhood.
That's exactly what's going on. So that's the thing with like the secret society. Even that, like secret society, secret clubs, bars, old buildings, being into old buildings and being allowed access into the underground. There's a lot of old buildings have another level. And if you know the right people,
you can get in there.
You're allowed in those places, and a lot of those passages go other places. And there's a lot of private clubs. You just have to know the signage. It's just like Masonic stuff. If you know some of the Freemason emblems, once you see them in your head and you look around, you will realize they're everywhere around you. But when you don't, you'll be like, motherfucker, I've walked past that 1,000 times. They're everywhere if you know what to look for.
And one thing too about those kind of, when John was talking about elitists and clubs, the interesting thing about it is it's like the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts or whatever, where all these levels. It's always a level. So like when you get in the Millionaire Club, you're gonna be like, oh man, I get to go hang out with all these people and do this kind of stuff. There's a certain point, a certain amount of money, where another door opens, and now you're hanging out with other people, and then you get And then you make $1 billion. The billionaires are not hanging out with millionaires. They're hanging out with other billionaires, and that door opens, and they get to see shit that nobody else gets to see.
And that's the same thing like when I, collecting snakes, like my reptile collection stuff. When I was younger, I was actually out capturing snakes and going to reptile, herpetological society meetings, and you meet dudes that breed them, and then I meet this dude that I'm buying mice from, and he's written several books, and even now, like when I'm on forums and people are asking questions about something, and every now and then, it's very rare that I'll comment, but I'm like, yeah, so-and-so, and they're like, bullshit, fucking Rob Applegate this. I'm like, I know Rob Applegate, like, fucking, I was buying mice from Bob Applegate when he was still an active fireman, that kind of shit. So, but as you get more and more shit, you draw other people's interest. When you're buying very, very high-end animals, $10,000 animals produce $10,000 animals.
Yeah.
You're taking care of a $50 lizard and a $5,000 lizard. The maintenance and cost is the same. The offspring, you're producing fucking $35 lizards from one and $5,000, $10,000 from the other. And you draw the attention of other people from around, and you get offered the same thing with the oddities. Like when I started doing oddity stuff, I was buying anything that was cool. It was fucking not original. It was not real. You didn't really know. And once you got put into other groups, bigger money started changing hands. You're like, holy shit!
Doors started opening.
This is pretty crazy. Like, I want to buy this. You can't have it in the United States. There are dudes maintaining collections of this shit in France. Like, there's a ton of shit. Some of the coolest stuff, like Egyptian artifacts, for instance, are not legal within the United States. Most of the people that hold those collections, because it changes hands, they auction that shit right through Sotheby's and stuff. Most of the people that hold those collections, like, I want a whale skeleton, I want a fucking dolphin skeleton, I want some, like, they're dead, they wash up on the shore, but there's a lot of gray areas to having them in the United States. There are ways around it. If you open a museum, which we could probably do, a zoo, we could probably get registered as a zoo. There's hoops you have to be in a teaching position or allow children to come and tour, stuff like that. But most of the people with that kind of money, those laws don't apply to those people because they set up other corporations or they set up fucking museums. Just like we have a dude here in town that collects military vehicles. He has some very, very neat stuff. Buys it, surplus, all legal. But I don't know if it was Tennessee or the local government here. They're like, we're going to tax you on all this shit. And so to get around the tax, he bought a building and set up a museum. A museum which I believe is never opened.
No, I don't even think the museum itself is finished.
But he had some actual tanks there and all kinds of shit. He has a fly-in a couple times a year, like P-51 Mustangs fly in. He's got a beautiful grass runway with a wooden, World War I tower there. Cool, man. More fucking power to you. If that's how you want to spend your money and preserve those relics and things from history, fucking bullshit that some government's going to fucking try to tax him for it. But, and that's the thing. So there's a next level to everything. There's levels to this shit. And, that applies everywhere, man. That applies in every aspect of life. And the thing with, like, you hear all the time, Freemasons, they network, they help each other, and that's the same thing like with our customers and our groups. Every time a man walks in here, he introduces himself, I introduce myself. First thing I say, where are you in town from? Why are you here? And what do you do for work? And it's because I might be able to do business with him. Like, that dude might make something that we can put our logo on, or he might make some piece that we can implement into our product. Or he might just do some business, and I know somebody that can do business with him, and that's kind of the thing. It's like our closed groups. We have different levels to our groups. We have a group that's only $10,000 and above, clients who have spent $10,000 with us, and we were like, well, how many of those could we possibly fucking have? And Jeff and I are like, I'll bet there's like 20 of them. Like, there was fucking hundreds of them. Like, we didn't even know. So we built a group around that. And then we have the SOE, well, we're not going to say the name. If you want in, you can get in, but you got to do the footwork. And that's just, I see dudes in there. I saw one the other day, like, hey, I'm in the Nashville area. Anybody who's a contractor. Hey, I'm in the Nashville area. I need a family lawyer. Hey, I'm in, I'm in California. Is there anybody that can help me with, whatever it was? They network. It's amazing, the perpetual motion that is in those groups. And that's the thing. Everybody's helping everybody. When they have a service they need, they look to those people first because we have that common interest. And typically, We don't know everybody in that first group, but the second level and the third level, like, you have to have come here. You have to have known us. You have to have been, involved in certain things. There's not like any crazy rituals or anything, but we generally know those people or know somebody who knows them very well. Like, you have to be invited in. You can't just find those groups. And that's the same thing with that. Richard Coos, thoughts on possible grid... Shit, we could go months on this. Thoughts on possible grid failure. The Department of Homeland Security, NIAC, and military all put out a warning in the last 9 months. So I'll say this, and we'll see what Jeff has to say. They put out one of those warnings every couple of years. That's what I had to say.
That's it? That's all you had to say? Yes. John's right. They put those out every couple of years. Honestly, we've known about how weak the grid system is,
and CDC
since I want to say, and I know some of you are behind the computer.
When were the solar flares that melted all the telegraph line?
That was way early. That was like 1903 or something like that. But a solar flare can actually take out the grid. So if you have a solar flare that comes off the sun, it can actually wipe out our electronics. Now, the Russians actually built a bomb to do the same thing. Well, they didn't really build it to do the same thing, but they detonated a nuclear weapon in the ionosphere, and
we have them too.
It was just a regular nuke. They just wanted to see what would happen, and what it did is it actually the shock wave actually fried. It's not the shock wave, but this electromagnetic pulse fried all the electrical systems in that certain area of Russia. So everybody talks about those type of bombs, and currently our government believes that the Chinese, the North Koreans, and the Russians have that kind of bomb. And what that does for you is it allows you to take out your opponent's electronic communications without destroying everything. So, obviously if you drop a nuke on New York City, you destroy everything. You can't use any of those resources. So if you're able to take a country out without destroying the resources, it makes it a lot easier. Now,
we did it to Iraq.
For the most part, since 1975, all military equipment has been protected from electromagnetic impulses.
Very basic.
Yeah, just protected. So, the military, the tanks are still going to fucking run, the Humvees are still going to run, the radios are still going to work. So for the military, it's not that big of a deal. But whenever you hear the military or Department of Defense say,
they're trying to buy something.
They're saying, hey, we need to be prepared for this electromagnetic pulse thing.
They're not warning us. They've
known about that for fucking 20 years. What they're trying to do is get a funding line in the budget where they can spend money on something that we don't even know about. So, I mean, when you talk about black bag operations and things like that, that's what they're looking for. They're looking to spend money where you, as the public, you're like, oh my god, the fucking lights are going to go out. We need the military to fix this. And then they're going to fucking buy a space rocket or something. Start building Battlestar Galacticas.
I like it every time they do that because it gives you a mission. It gives you a purpose. When I was a kid, that was Red Dawn. So we were preparing for the Russians. And in preparing for the Russians, you're preparing for everything less than the Russians, really. And you're kind of having fun doing it. You're going to the gun shows. You're training. You're running around in camouflage out in the canyons. You're playing BB gun wars like we were kids. But when you accumulate those things or you amass those things or each individual skill, it's all individual little skills. How many people have fucking camping equipment but can't light a fire? How many people can have all the stuff to light a fire but can't fucking ignite wet wood? It's that kind of shit. So when they say that stuff, or zombies, and for the last few years it's been zombie shows. It's been Walking Dead, and we call all the shitbag zombies, and we're getting ready for the zombies, but really you're just getting ready for whatever. And it's fun to do that. Everybody wants to go out and buy $36,000 a mountain house and fucking $100,000 in guns and ammo. Awesome. That's the fun shit. But in there, mix in all the other shit. And if you think in threes, 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. all that stuff is a foundation. You have to put the foundation in place. And in doing so, you're amassing the stuff, you're cataloging it, you're hopefully using it and knowing how to use it, checking the batteries. Like, so much of this shit, how many dudes have needed a flashlight and go get the flashlight out of the drawer in the kitchen, but the batteries are rotted out because they off-gassed. So you know that now that, you know, we use lithium batteries because it does that less, and a lithium battery will run 90% and then taper down, whereas an alkaline runs down and then tapers down at 50%. Shit like that. I like it because it's a good catalyst. That they put that out there, just like the CDC and Ebola or whatever the fuck it was a couple of years ago. It's a good catalyst. Like, and all that shit, prepping up and having all that stuff, it's a good foundation. And if you do it right, you're going to use a lot of that stuff in your everyday life. I was listening to the Survival Podcast a few episodes ago, and he's like, you know, don't go over if you ride somebody all the time. Like, did you go to the gym today? Did you do your 100 push-ups today? Did you? Because like Jeff comes and goes. That's not what happened. But let's say Joe Schmo comes over and he's like, man, I'm really fat. Can you help me get in shape? Yeah, we're at the gym every morning at 6 o'clock. Meet us there. And then he's like, well, I'm just going to do it at home. And you start riding him. Sooner or later, he's just going to stop talking to you. You have to make it his idea. So when the power's out, walk to your fucking next door neighbor's house that you don't know and knock on their door and go, hey, you got a flashlight? You know, do you have a radio? Have you been listening to the news? You know, you always have extra shit. Let him use it. But he doesn't get to own that. When the crisis is over, that comes back. And he hopefully sees the value in that. Okay, your power's out. Is your cell phone charged? No. Well, do you know that you can go, you probably didn't think about this because most people don't, but you can just go plug your phone in your car and charge your phone up. Stuff like, you know, little shit like that. Fuck, man, we could do...
Yeah, I like to say 90 days. So this is my opinion. If you're a responsible adult and you have a family, you should have 90 days of supplies available to you. Now, there's a lot of problems if you live in an apartment and all. I get it. There's a lot of problems. You need to do the best you can. The reason why I say 90 days is because of a virus. If they decide tomorrow that they're going to release swine flu.
Or they test it and fucking it goes bad.
They want to release swine flu or bird flu. Life cycle is usually around 90 days for that virus. And when I say hold up, I mean you need to be able to hold up at your location for 90 days. There's a couple of good reasons why. The first one is most places in the United States, the bigger the city, the worse off you are. Most places only have 72 hours worth of food.
Not even that.
If you're in New York City, you have 24 hours worth of food. So most places only have 72 hours worth of food. So within the first week, if the government stopped working tomorrow for whatever reason, the power went out, or let's say swine flu.
Let's pause and interject this. If the power went out, sustained, power's out, not coming back on, you're going to lose 10% of your population as soon as the fucking meds run out, the CPAP machines stop, whatever it is that they have to have, refrigeration and insulin possibly.
And so, you know, you want to be able to hold up for two reasons. One, we will go savage really quick. If you take a large population and you don't feed them for a week, they're going to go savage really quick. And you don't want to be part of that. You don't want to be out there in the streets trying to find insulin for your child because you didn't have enough insulin. Because once you go out there, you've exposed yourself to whatever the problem is, and you're also exposing yourself to everybody who's out there. And let me tell you, we will go fucking meat eaters really quick.
And there'll be waves to it. You'll have your criminal element that'll be out there that's going to kill until they get killed. And then you're going to have your other people just out of desperation. The dude, your law-abiding, normal, average Joe citizen, 2-3 weeks into that, when his child is hungry, that shit's going to change.
And so, I mean, you need to be able to hold up. All the guns and the ammo won't mean anything if fucking it's 300 people.
The guns and ammo are tools to defend what you have or move and
what you have. So, big thing is. I know it's very tribal, but in situations that may arise in the future, it's best to have like-minded individuals and already discuss what, if some crazy shit happened, this is what we are going to do. This is what I'm going to provide you. This is what you're going to provide me. We are going to hold up together, and we're going to make sure that we can defend this. Because, you know, usually if you like, you know, for me, 10 years ago, it was me and 3 boys and a woman. And could I have defended that against? Probably not. They probably would have gone right through my house in Temecula. But ideally, what you want to do is you want to be able to hold up enough that you don't have to expose yourself to whatever that element is. So that's really my thoughts on that.
What about now?
What about now? Because it's just me and Gina? Well, you know, same thing. I have the same problem now because it's me and Gina.
It ain't going to be just you and Gina.
I'm going to fight and die in place. That's what it is. Whatever you carry on your back. I mean, you also, understandably, for some of you...
We've relocated a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah. For some of you, you're going to have to figure, you know, the situation may require you to move, to leave. You need to make sure that you have, you know, a capable vehicle and the ability to get, you know, my thought on that is it's hard to say, you know, I'm going to have 700 gallons on site at all times, so we'll be able to live through the end of the apocalypse. My thought on that is you should have at least a second tank full of fuel at the house at all times, because you don't know what's going to happen and why you may have to leave. And at least if you have a full tank of gas on average, unless you have a Tesla, but on average, most vehicles will go 300 miles on a full tank of gas. You know, outside nuclear war, that could get you out of harm's way, whether it's a tornado, hurricane, blah, blah, blah. But you should be able to at least do that. Because you never know when it's going to happen. And if you've been running around all week and you get home and then they say Godzilla's about to come and attack you and you don't have any fuel in your car, the last thing you want to fucking do is go to a gas station. Because there's going to be 4,000 people there wanting the same thing you want. And if it's bad enough, the guys with the guns are going to get the fuel.
Well, they're going to follow you.
Yeah, so
when we have rolled up to gas stations, we have fuel delivered now. We have rolled up to gas stations with 40 gas cans or 20 kerosene cans in the middle of the fucking night. And people are like, man, you guys are buying a lot of kerosene. Hey, leave some kerosene. No, you motherfucker, you're not even buying kerosene.
no.
Like, the kerosene doesn't even fucking turn over in the pump. The kerosene I'm buying now has been in that pump for 4 fucking years down in the tank. But people know. People talk. So you're better off just doing a little at a time. Do it in the dark, at nighttime, when the traffic's not as heavy. Nobody's going to look twice at you getting a thing of gas. And along the gas thing, you don't have to buy them all right now. Go buy, and you don't even have to buy expensive ass gas cans. You just need to have a container. It can be a shitty Walmart gas can. I can do a whole show on gas cans, but most likely dudes listening to this, they already have the knowledge. They know what we're talking about. Get a gas can, go to the gas station, fill the gas can up, and go stick it in your garage and write a 1 on it. Next month, do the exact same thing. Once you have 12 in there, every month. Now on the next year, you're going to take that first gas can, you're going to put that fuel into your car,
yeah.
You're going to put that empty can in your trunk, and then you're going to go top your car off at the gas station, and you're going to fill that, and that goes back in. And then February, you're going to use can 2, and then you're just going to keep going down the line. That fuel will stay just fine for 12 months. Yeah. Ideally, I have actually used and dumped fuel in my fucking truck that is over 8 years, 9 years old at this point. Well, longer than that. And it was not treated at all. We use a can. We use Euro fuel cans. And when left out in the sun, they
expand.
They bow out. And then when it's cold, they suck in. But they can't piss. They can't breathe. Whereas the plastic ones, they will breathe off. So you're looking for Euro NATO Jerry cans is what you're looking for.
Just a warning.
Not the Chinese ones.
Just a warning, if you are exposing your cans, if you're exposing those European cans to the elements, like John said, they contract and they expand.
You can get them to crack.
When you go to open that can, it's going to the pressure is going to throw fuel out of that fucking can.
About 4 feet a mist.
So don't be looking in there when you go to open it, because it's gonna pop and
we'll
shoot
talk on
fuel
that. Anytime I talk about fuel cans, that's part of it. You want to have a couple jerry rags, like terry cloth rags, or an old beach towel. You're going to hold that over there when you pop that, and it's going to contain that vapor. Now you have a towel that has gas fumes and wet gas in it. So preferably you have a pack of towels, so you can just leave those on site when that happens. The other thing to keep in mind is when it's super cold, you are not going to be able to open that with your hand. You need to have a larger flat blade screwdriver or some method to pry it that is also not sharp enough to punch the can, because when it sucks in when it's cold, because I carried fucking 6 of these in the back of my truck across the wall with a bed toolbox in front of them. You never even knew they were there. But when it's cold outside and that thing is vacuumed in, you have to use a tool to open it. Yeah. And then we never pulled those cans. We actually had them in place with a tension bar across them, and we use jiggler siphons. That's the next big thing. When you start looking at the proper cans, you got to get the proper spout. And that was always the thing. Like, we always saw these cans at the gun shows, but you never could. There was 20 different valves out there, and just because it looked like the right spout, that didn't mean it cammed in the same, whether it be from Latvia or Germany or, you know, wherever they were from. Bypass all that bullshit. No matter how good your valve is, it's a piece of shit. It will take literally 10 minutes almost to dump that fuel. With a jiggler siphon, I dumped the jiggler siphon. In under 2 minutes, I've moved all 5 gallons. And with a 6.5 foot siphon, no matter where those were in the bed, even in the Yukon on the drop down tailgate or a pickup truck, I was able to just set them on the bed of the Yukon, get it and take right around to the fuel filler, jiggle it and get it fueling, and it would fuel right into the tank. But there's a ton of shit like that. So rotate your fuel out. So do you feel more secure here than California?
Definitely more secure here than California.
In every manner. I mean, even just walking down the street.
Just walking down the street.
Although we say that, we don't even have sidewalks.
It's true, there are no sidewalks here.
What are the chances of some blaze orange gear for the hunting crowd? Money talks. That's the deal. The deal is, you always hear dudes say this. We made some search and rescue LBVs that were orange back in the day. If I had 6 of them sitting out there, we would have 6. We'd have 2 of them still in 6 months. If we built 400 in multicam of the exact same thing, they'd be gone in a week. So labor is our constriction here. It always has been. Like these rifle cases, will I build it for you? For the right price, I will. Like, we have every now and then I go through that thread at the very top of the Special Operations Equipment Facebook page is a custom gear request. And you put what you want, and every now and then I go through there, and we build that shit for you. We charge you 2 to 3 times. If you're buying whatever bag it is, if I charge $100 to get it custom in your colors how you want it, it's going to be $300. With that price, yes, it's more expensive, but you're going to get exactly what you want, and you're typically going to get it in under a week. We're going to custom build that right up. Pharmaceutical companies invented and named diseases. Yes, they were just commenting. Oh no, I said that. Who did I say that to? I have Blink cameras, and they are awesome. Blink cameras, we'll have to check those out. I love the door ring camera. The best thing is that from work, I can talk to people at my door and tell them I'm not opening the door and to go away. That was DJ Richard said that. Those fucking doctors will give you a mental illness just to make Big Pharma rich. Of course they will, and they'll put you on a pill which will make you sick or die, that will require several other pills to keep you alive, whereas had you just not taken the pill, your problem probably would not have existed to begin with, or, you know, just the symptoms. And really, I mean, if people aren't going to cure you, like, that's the real thing. Like, you want to go to a doctor and he's going to say, it's this and take this and you'll be fine in 6 weeks. But that's very few and far between. Number one, it's a practice. They call it a practice because they're practicing. Like, might hit it the first time, might not fucking hit it. The lab work might say one thing, but there's multiple things that could elevate whatever they were looking at. Like, you're going to have to cure yourself. Like, if you're sick, a lot of times it's not always, but I mean, we all know a lot of times it's self-inflicted. Like, you're going to have to spend some time, and nobody's going to take care of you Nobody's going to have an interest in keeping you alive like you're going to have an interest in keeping yourself alive. And unfortunately, society is fucking lazy. There's a lot of people that are just fucking eating whatever the doctor's giving them, and they're not getting any better.
I'm not in line with John on this. We are fortunate on so many levels. We are fortunate on so many levels, and I think it goes back to that we're comfy again. Everybody's comfortable. I know I say this all the time. We are fortunate on so many levels that the diseases that we no longer lose children and die at 34 from anymore. And that is because of the pharmaceutical companies. It's because they created a polio vaccine. It is because they created a smallpox vaccine. That's the reason why if you are over the age of 50, that is the reason why you're still alive. Because of what they've done. The problem in the medical industry is, same thing. They have gotten comfortable. It's easier to give a pill. It's easier for me to give a pill to John or to myself, like blood pressure medicine. It's a big one. It's easier for me, as a doctor, it's easier for me to give the pill. Here's the blood pressure medicine. That's what you need because your blood pressure is so high. Than to go after the symptoms of high blood pressure. Because the problem is here in the United States, we are very, first off, we are kind of anti-doctor. And second, I don't know if it's pride or what, but we don't want to pry into your life. We don't want to get into his life and be like, this is why you have high blood pressure, because you're doing this, this, and this. The problem is, during a time period when doctors used to do that, people don't want to change. They don't want to change. They want to keep doing. They want to keep doing what they're doing. If the doctor came in here and said, your blood pressure will be fine if you stop having so much stress. This is what's causing your stress. Most people will be like, well, that's the way I am. That's the way. It's why you have all these people who are super heavy right now.
You meant
because you don't want
fat. You meant
because
fat.
you don't want.
Started to say it.
You don't want doctors to get in your business, because if they get in your business, they're going to start telling you how to live, and that, as Americans, we don't even want to hear it. It's like, whenever I see I get it. You're comfortable. Whenever I see these people talking about, oh, we don't vaccinate our children, you are creating a problem that you can't even fucking understand. It's the reason why whooping cough is in California right now. Something that we completely eradicated from the United States through vaccines is back in California because we have a bunch of fucking idiots who think, oh my God, vaccines are so terrible. It's the reason, if you're 50, it is the reason why you're still alive. It's the reason why you don't have crippling, debilitating polio. Because they came up with a fucking vaccine. They came up with a pill. Is the pharmacy companies bloodthirsty fucking maniacs? Yes. That is why 750,000 plus people have died of opioid overdose. That's the pharmaceutical companies being greedy pigs. That's all that is being greedy pigs. There are problems with the medical industry, but be careful when you start talking about, oh, this pill doesn't do shit. There are pills right now that I have to take diabetic pills. If I did not take those pills, it would not be long before my foot would fall off.
Or
nope.
You can stop drinking Pepsi.
The Diet Pepsi has nothing to do with it.
But it does.
It does nothing to do with it. You cannot identify a single study that says that.
I'll bet you I can send you 10 tonight.
No, you can not legitimate studies. I don't want none of your fucking YouTube, I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning conspiracy theories.
Not conspiracy
real
theories.
Studies. It doesn't.
Is it
doesn't
cephalic effect? Your insulin spikes even though there's no sugar because of the sweetness of it. Is that somebody on here will know?
Well, I will tell you this: as somebody who has to monitor his blood sugar level, not one single time has drinking 1 gallon or 10 gallons of Diet Pepsi changed my insulin level. Not one single time.
Is insulin blood sugar level?
Yeah, that's your blood sugar level.
Changes Amanda's.
Well, I don't.
Just from sweet zero sugar.
Well, because the reason why Amanda's is changing is because they're using alcohol sugars.
No.
Well, I'm saying
No
that
alcohol sugar, because alcohol sugar
Well, it's
still
not-
registers.
it's not Diet Pepsi.
So your pharmaceutical reps used to have been through pharmaceutical school or doctors or med school or whatever. The majority of your pharmaceutical reps now
Yeah, they're just
are
reps.
business majors. They're literally just selling pills. It's almost like a multi-level marketing thing. When you get on board with them and you start pushing the meds for them, you get trips, you get vehicles, you get all kinds of things. Check that out. Check out, look at some of that shit. Of course, fucking, we don't want polio. Of course, we don't want, all the shit that used to be here. Another thing to look at is the link. Like, look up a video how AIDS came to be, and when they were doing all the research, where was it? The Congo. I think they were doing it in the Congo, and they didn't have the same lung tissue. I think it was lung tissue from chimpanzees. They couldn't get enough of them because that was close to humans, so they used some other type of monkey, and it crossed the blood barrier when they had whatever the fuck. There's some. I sent you the links to them probably a year ago. It's pretty interesting. That's enough info for you to find it if you're interested in it. These are the ones. I haven't even seen any of these. Gabby printed these all out.
Most of these aren't questions though. Out here, it's all like, why did R. Kelly pee on that girl and stuff like that.
How long have we been going?
We have been going for. I don't know. It looks like an hour. It can't be an hour.
Let's
We're
fucking
going for a minute.
We got that. There's a podcast for today, which is what we're trying to do every day. Let's cut that off and then look through this shit.
You don't want to talk about.
I thought these were questions. I don't.
But
see
you don't want to talk about.
What is this?
You don't want to talk about soaking.
How did that even fucking come up?
I don't know how it came.
No, that's a whole. Like we'll go into. We'll do that whole thing, like what is considered sex, what's not sex, how religious kids in religion get around that. Like Catholics have anal sex and you're still a virgin, so it's okay. Soaking, what was that? The Mormons.
I don't know how
this was soaking. They put the penis in the vagina but don't actually move it. So
I don't know how that would be okay with Catholics.
I don't know. Fucking who knows? Which religions circumcise, which don't, and why? Like, that's a whole nother fucking podcast on its own.
Because Catholics, you can't spill the seed. They
So soaking,
which is Mormons.
that's what I had heard.
Mormons. Yeah. Which doesn't make sense either. It's like a get around, right? Somebody. What I think it is some horny Mormon dude was like, look, if I put it in and I don't move, it's not sex.
Right. Well, you remember that Mormon chick Jules?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She soak? You soak with the Jules?
No, but
No
she's
soaking?
like, you can fuck me in the ass all night long if you want, but you can't. Like, I can't get pregnant. Was her thing.
Oh man, that does sound like a.
She was crazy, right? Mom and dad fucking super religious. She was super religious until fucking she was away from mom and dad.
Yeah. That is crazy. It's funny what we have to do in our minds to justify things that, I mean, realistically, do we have a control over it? You can be a monk up on a mountain somewhere and pray heavily every day and maybe have control over your sexual drive, but man, to think that all the voodoo and all the nonsense that we put on ourselves as a society to control people from having sex.
Not to mention, if you're not talking to your kids about it, it doesn't mean it goes away. Like, your kids are going to have sex, no matter how much. Like we know people whose kids were having sex in the school bathroom, shit like that. If you talk to them, they can't go, I didn't know. Like, talk to them about fucking contraception, rubbers, whatever the fuck. They're going to do it. Like I was in a fucking all men's prison, and there were dudes fucking the female staff once a month. The feds were up there removing some staff member. Like, I got a friend that I was in Lompoc. I made friends with this dude. He fucking banged the librarian, and she has this kid. Like, and she had his kid while he was still in prison for 3 years. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way around it.
It's
like,
going to
talk to
happen.
your fucking kids about it. Tell them, joke with them, whatever you need to do, no matter what your fucking religion is. You believe what you want to believe, and you try to look good in the eyes of the church, but how are you going to look when you show up with a fucking grandchild? Like, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And here we are relying on fucking somebody else to tell our kids what we're uncomfortable telling them. Like, fucking tell them. Talk to them. It's not about you.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, turn that off.
Turn it off.
We got it done. We'll be better prepared tomorrow.